We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Welcome to the Historic Preservation Review Board regular meeting. This is a citizen board appointed by the town council to interpret and uphold the historic preservation ordinance. And so we're very pleased to have everyone here tonight that's here. When it's your opportunity to present your project, if you would, just come forward to the podium and introduce yourself and give us your address. That would be very, very helpful. So roll call.
All right, Mr. Boyd,
Excuse me, present.
Mr. Owens,
Here?
Mrs. Hartshorn,
Here.
Mrs. White,
Here.
and Mr. Kiesler.
Here. All right, we have two sets of minutes to approve. The first is from the October 6th, 2021 regular meeting. Does anyone have any comments or questions or corrections as to that set of minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve them as submitted?
I move they be approved as submitted, October 6th.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Boyd,
Aye.
Mr. Owens,
Aye.
Mrs. Hartshorn,
Aye.
Mrs. White,
Aye.
and Mr. Kiesler.
Aye. And then the October 2021 work session. Are there any comments or corrections as to those minutes? Not, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes on October the 20th work session.
I'll second it.
All right, roll call?
Mr. Boyd,
Aye.
Mr. Owens,
Aye.
Mrs. Hartshorn,
Aye.
Mrs. White,
Aye.
and Mr. Kiesler.
Aye. All right, the first item of business then is the certificate of appropriateness for 158 East Main Street. Ned Lloyd is the owner. Welcome.
Thank you. Feels like a courtroom, which I haven't been in since I was 18, so a traffic ticket. Okay, so I'm Ned Lloyd. My mailing address is 4778 South Blue Ridge Turnpike, Rochelle, Virginia, 22738. I own the 158 East Main Street building. We've had our business in there for 10 years, I guess, 12 years. But trying to do some improvements and bringing some stuff up to code. There were some stairs that were, actually I brought Rick over and he was nice enough to say, you shouldn't have done, shouldn't have done this, you need to change a bunch of stuff. So everything was internal, which is good, it's coming along, but there is one external for now, and that is the back window underneath the stairs is not egress approved. And they felt like that they wanted me to try to get approved to change the size of that window. So that's what I'm here for. So whatever I need to do, I'm happy to do.
Just the window only?
Just the window only. It has
What
to
are the
be.
new dimensions going to be?
So Matt Bundy did the drawing, and he's got it on here as 4 by 5, which that's what he spec'd. I don't know if it necessarily has to be that big for egress, but I'll go with his number unless somebody wants us to look into something different.
There's a minimum square footage,
There's a minimum square footage, yeah.
which I think is probably a little less than that, but
And I think it's consistent with trying to keep it the same style of windows, so certain styles of windows open a certain way, which allow you a certain square footage. If you change the style of the window, I think you can get more square footage on the opening. But Matt suggested that we try to keep the same style.
Do you know what actual window products you're going to use for the new?
Hopefully, the windows that were there were replaced before I bought the building. They're fairly new, and they're a simple, they're a fairly available vinyl product, and so we're hoping to get an exact match. Because we don't want to change the look of all the rest of the windows, ideally.
Right.
So it's just that little small window that's, I drove around there and looked at it.
Yeah, it's up underneath
Yeah,
the deck.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So otherwise, that basement just doesn't have anything but the door, and you're supposed to have two egresses.
So would you be able to, I guess, provide us with the actual window before you install it, or the staff at least to know?
Like a make a model, or just buy the window and have it there?
Well, normally we insist on knowing the exact window that's going to go in, and
Okay.
what it's made out of, and what it looks like, and whether it's true divided lights, that kind of thing. I mean, you have a more recent, building that was built more recently than most.
1962, yeah,
Right.
and I think
And
the windows were
so-
replaced in the last 5 years, yeah.
So, normally we require wood windows with divided or simulated divided lights, but it would make more sense in your case for your window to just match what's there, which is what you're proposing doing. So as long as you're doing that, I don't know that we really need to be
Yeah.
more detailed than that, unless anyone feels. that
Well,
we
it's
do.
still under these stairs and it's, how visible, I didn't drive around back there, but it's not that visible
Right.
from
No.
from the street.
I'd be
Yeah.
glad to make a motion
Okay.
to approve
Yeah.
it as presented.
All
I
right.
just one question, are you keeping the same head height and then just lowering the sill?
Yeah, I think they want to use the same bearing header, and they're just going to drop it.
Okay.
That's my understanding. I would actually love to put windows. Maybe we'll do that next. But
Okay.
I've actually really enjoyed the project, and everybody seems to have lots of ideas, so we'll see.
So is there a motion?
I made the motion to
Okay.
approve it.
Is
I'll
there a
second it.
All right, roll call.
Mr. Boyd?
Aye.
Mr. Owens?
All right.
Mrs. Hartshorn?
Aye.
Mrs. White?
Aye.
And Mr. Geisler?
Aye.
Great, thank
Alright.
you.
Thank
And
you.
obviously, if we need
Thank
to do
you.
anything different,
Thank
just let
you.
us know.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
All right. The next is a certificate of appropriateness, Dana Hurley. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Dana Hurley, and I live at 5825 3rd Place, Northwest, Washington DC, 20011. And my wife and I recently purchased 231 Valley Street, and we're looking to renovate it to retire there.
Oh, welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Welcome.
we hope sometime,
Yeah. Great
if I can
house.
find help to do
Yeah,
it.
it's a great house and a great spot.
I'm one of your neighbors and I didn't even know it had been purchased, so
Yeah.
welcome
Yeah.
to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It actually wasn't on the market. We kind of approached the owner,
Uh-huh.
and my brother knew the owner's daughter, I guess, and approached her, and she was willing to, she was looking to sell it. She just didn't want to deal with having people walk through her house.
Uh-huh.
And, have it as a listing.
Yeah. Well, we're glad to have you in this review
Well,
process.
Oh, thank you,
Uh-huh.
thank you.
So if you just want to take us through the work you're planning to do to the building, that we can
Okay.
ask the questions that we have in.
Well, first of all, according to what I'd submitted, we're looking to paint it. We're scraping, priming, and painting. I think I'd submitted drawdowns
did.
of
Yeah.
the colors.
Mhm.
You did?
And we were looking to use those exact drawdown colors. I did want to input another thing that we thought about. We wanted to see if painting the window sashes themselves a bronze type color, the trim and the frame of the window would still remain the same trim color that I had submitted, right? And here's a sample of
That would be the,
that would be the sash color.
okay.
Right. And the windows are not divided light, they're just one pane, top and bottom. I was also looking to repair the front porch. The railings have some rotting on the back, on the bottom of them. We wanted to raise the railing up a little bit. There's a little bit of a safety issue because they're very low. I wanted to see if I could raise those up to code height.
Did you say, the picture looked like they were resting right on the deck?
They are, they're right on the
Uh-huh.
deck. And they probably need to be raised about 4 inches to
Mhm.
meet current code, building
Mhm.
code, for safety reasons. So I would like to be able to raise those and replace them,
Yes.
if they're rotted and not
Mhm.
repairable.
And they would need to be replaced with wood, not vinyl?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever we replace with would be wood, yes.
So on the handrails right now.
Yes.
They go into the post, there's this place there that's provided for the handrail to go into the post. How are you gonna raise them and deal with that issue?
Probably what I'd have to do is fabricate a small wrap to go around the column that would come up 4 or 5 inches higher, that would create a square surface to butt the railing into, right, so that we could attach them. because right above the railings now, it's scrolled, it's routed out, and it's nearly impossible to attach the railings if I was to raise them without modifying the posts. So just the square part of the post would be a little bit higher than what you see in the picture, right?
Okay.
Do you get the sense that those were original to the house or had been a replacement? It's odd that they are resting right on the deck.
It's very odd, but I have seen them like that
Uh-huh.
before. I know the ones on the stairs are not original. They look like they're
Mhm.
probably in the past 20, 30 years have been
Mhm.
replaced. I don't know about the ones on the porch
Mhm.
itself.
So I guess my question was leading to there, you can't see the ghost of any previous place on that post.
No.
Right.
No.
Okay.
So,
I got that, I was looking for the exterior.
Oh, proceed, go ahead.
oh, should I continue
Yeah,
on, or
keep
do you
going,
want
I
to
mean,
discuss that?
yeah, we might as well go down through the list.
Okay. The other items were repaired to the front porch. It has some rotted porch boards. We'll just replace with wood of like kind,
Mhm.
and also the ceiling boards on the porch. We'll put tongue and groove bead board, which is probably the same as original in many old houses. The other thing was, I wanted to see if the board would consider replacing two of the windows. We have a kind of a difficult kitchen in the back area to fit the appliances and have enough cabinets. So I wanted to see about moving the kitchen window upstairs to the bedroom and make that a double window that would make it identical to the dining room, which is directly below it.
Is that represented in this picture?
Yeah, it's on
That's the kitchen window, that's correct. And there's another picture of,
this picture here, where there's.
yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So you would eliminate one window and move it to make a double window?
Well, I would move that upstairs and make the upstairs bedroom a double window, both of those original, and then I would replace the single window in the kitchen with two single windows. And I just drew a sketch.
Were you able to find that size and everything still?
Well, these windows would be slightly smaller in width, I'm sorry, smaller in width and in height. I'm trying to make them smaller so that I can put cabinets underneath of them.
I don't think I have that picture.
Nope.
That one?
No, you don't have it.
Oh, okay,
Oh, okay.
okay, sorry.
Can we maybe just pass that
Yeah,
around?
just pass that around.
So are you saying that the new kitchen windows would basically look a lot like the double windows right beside it?
No, they would be separated.
Okay.
You'll see in there.
Okay. But this is the window that you're talking about, this one right
About
here?
moving up, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Just
this
to
is
give it a
coming
light
down
for
the
the
side.
mouse.
And replacing this
Not
with
the
two,
back.
Pardon me?
replacing this with two.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
The two that you would replace would
Sorry.
replicate this one, or would they be separated? I
They'd be
haven't s-
separated is what I
Okay.
said. That's
Yeah.
what I said. That's what I asked also.
And we would use Pella or whatever manufacturer can match the design of the existing windows.
Byron, if you don't mind passing down that,
Sorry.
And that's drawn to scale, pretty much.
I'm still trying to get oriented, so is this the area that we're talking about, that's gonna have the two single windows?
That's the dining room windows, those would stay the same. The window right above those, I would make that a double
A
window.
double.
I'd move the existing kitchen window up there and make that a double window.
So then this
So this other page,
That is the one that would,
would have the
we
two
would take
windows.
out and have the two windows, that's correct.
So essentially, therefore, this one will end up duplicating what's below it.
Exactly.
Okay.
They're exactly the same size
Well,
window.
there's two new ones the same size as the second floor window,
No, they would be slightly smaller,
shorter.
yeah.
Further back.
have you shopped for these yet? Do you have?
I'm sorry?
Have you shopped for them? I mean,
For the windows?
Yeah.
No, I have not.
Interesting to see what you come up with size-wise, because they're gonna be, I mean, what do you think that is right there? That's a narrow window in that picture.
You know, it might just be the angle. we're
Yeah, they
looking
would be
at.
custom windows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to have them custom made. It's just that the kitchen's a little challenging for us to make an appropriate kitchen with enough counter and to fit all the appliances.
Yeah.
Okay, comments, questions?
I don't have any problem with this.
Well, my only comment is that, I mean, this is a really fine example of this particular period house. And we usually, we try to be very careful with anything that's
Right.
on the outside. What you're planning to do is towards the back.
Yes.
Towards the back, and then the other one is on the side.
They're both on, yeah.
And it's on the side, and even though it's closer to the front, it is going to make it balanced with the ones below it.
Right. So our guidelines say windows that are original should be preserved in their original location, size, and design, and with their original materials and number of panes. Unless they are located out of public view, windows that are not original should not, well, doesn't apply. So sort of the basic guideline is they stay where they are and aren't changed.
Right.
Yes, that's true.
I understand.
I
Yep.
mean,
I was
we,
just-
we try hard to make these houses livable too.
Right, right.
Uh,
And I'm a contractor in Washington DC.
Oh.
So, and I've done a little bit of historic preservation in Georgetown, so I understand the
yeah.
importance of it, and I appreciate it. And we tried to do that with our house when we renovated it there to keep it.
So this is the Valley Street facade that we see.
Yes, that
Which
faces-
side of the house are we talking about
The-
when this is
The
occurring?
west
The left
side.
as you're looking at, the west side
The
as you're
west
looking at
side.
that picture. The left side.
Yeah, I drove down there and looked at it.
Okay. And then, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but I just wanna make sure I understand. When you move the window up, well, you got it here. So, this is gonna be two windows right together just like this?
Yes.
Mhm.
Not separated?
No, they would be together. It would look like that.
Which look like the bottom ones.
Yes.
It'd be just like it, okay, then
Yeah.
what's gonna happen down here?
That's the,
That's the one he
Wall in
wants to
question.
replace.
That's the one where the.
The
replacing
kitchen
it.
window
windows.
that's
Yeah.
to be a little shorter.
And so you're
Yes.
gonna, so this is gonna be gone, what's gonna go back here?
the sketch.
Two windows, smaller in
windows.
size.
Okay,
two
I'm
kitchen
with you
right
now.
there.
I'm with you now.
That's the elevation of that part of the wall right there.
Okay. All right.
Are you planning to keep this window box? Is that, I guess that's what that is, or is that
I'd have to ask my wife
a,
that.
okay.
That's right. Window boxes are definitely a wife's.
Yeah, she
Question, yes.
will probably want them.
Well, I mean, I think that, I think I can live with the window changes. I mean, it's not something we like to do
Typical,
or
yeah.
like to have
I
happen,
understand.
but, you know,
I
Well, it's
understand.
not on
Okay.
it's not on the directly on the
Right.
front.
No.
It's towards the back.
it's reusing the same old
It is,
window.
it
It's not-
is,
Yeah,
it is.
Yep.
And you'll be very careful to do all that to keep it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and make sure that the material,
And the materials are all wood.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
And as we are with the exterior painting, any replacement will be with wood
Yes,
also.
right.
We won't use aluminum or vinyl or hardy board.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I do have a concern about how the railing's going to look once you make it taller. I mean, it's the design of the porch and the post and how the railing comes into that, that's all gonna be compromised
Uh-huh.
and changed. I mean, I understand the safety concern, I'm trying to visualize what that's going to look like.
How high is the railing now?
Pardon me?
How high is the railing now?
It's approximately 30 inches,
So you need to go up 6 inches to meet the code.
about 6 inches, yeah. I think it has to be between 33 and 36 to meet code.
I'm thinking this could look really awkward right here.
Mm-hmm.
If you take this railing is supposed to come into that post right there, and then you have this rounded design above that, very visible on Valley Street. And if you change that by raising it 4 inches, it's gonna look awkward, I think.
If you'd like, I could provide a sketch that could be reviewed later. This is not something that we're gonna do for quite a while. What it would look like, and then you
Yes.
could
Would
kind
you
of
be
review
okay
that.
with that, is putting that one piece off until,
Yeah,
and have it, just having a little more detail?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know
I
it
can
sounds
do that.
forward-thinking, but every time one of those
Well, I
little
know.
things
I understand.
happens, it has a cumulative
Yeah.
effect.
Well, I understand. I was just standing there and I was just thinking, my gosh, if somebody just backed up.
They'd
Right.
fall right
you know,
over
and
it.
our
Right.
father-in-law's probably gonna be with us, and he's
Mhm.
82, and
Gotcha.
he's clumsy anyway, so.
And you're tall.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions, comments?
We just need a copy of that paint chip that, to go with.
Well, this one worked. I ordered a drawdown, but it wasn't ready until this morning. and I left
We can just
Washington
jot
this
it
morning.
down.
And so the siding is gonna be the gray color, is that right?
Or that's the trim.
Well, it's a, yeah. Do you have the original drawdown that I sent?
Yeah. It's at the front, I think.
We've got this.
Oh, here it is. Yeah.
They're here.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know what I've done with it.
There we go.
There should be an original, a full size.
Well, we got it, but it's,
There you go.
this is the house
That's the
color.
trim color.
Okay.
This is trim,
There's
That's
two,
trim.
there's two.
house color,
House.
and window.
House color's a small one. Yes. And there should be a large one of these
There
in
is
the.
a large one behind there.
Oh, they're stuck together.
Oh,
There you go.
Oh, okay. So this is the body,
That's the body.
this is the body,
right.
this is the trim,
That's gonna be nice.
and, yeah, and this is the,
Sash.
the sashes?
The sash.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, very
All
nice.
right.
And then the porch railings are white, and then you're gonna paint the floor of the porch the
We'll
gray
we'll
color?
paint the, yeah, it'll be the same gray that it is now.
Oh, okay.
And the porch railings would also be that creamy,
The trim color.
yeah.
Right. So these are the three colors.
Well, I'll make a motion. Is there any more discussion? I'll make a motion that we approve, everything except for the railing at this point, and he'll bring us some drawings on how that will look on that post.
Is that something I could just send in, email to you? Would I need to be here again in a month or 2 months? I guess,
No, I mean, we could act on it without you being here if you're okay with that.
yeah,
Because you're in Washington?
yeah.
Because you are in
I
Washington?
mean, I'll be down here a
Okay.
lot, but, yeah, I'm in Washington. I don't know if I can necessarily make it on the 3rd.
Oh,
or the
right, on the
first
next one,
Wednesday.
right.
Right.
I think we can do it
We
fine
can-
without you,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll try to make it if I can.
But if not, we'll go ahead and review it, okay.
And we can probably Zoom or have you call in as
Yeah,
well.
that would
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rather
We
than
all,
do the
we all
full
know
trip.
how to Zoom in.
Reluctantly.
All right, well,
Okay, I'll second the motion.
okay. Roll call?
Mr. Boyd?
Aye.
Mr. Owens?
Aye.
Mrs. Hartsworth?
Aye.
Mrs. White?
Aye.
And Mr. Geisler?
Aye. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
And
so
welcome,
much.
yeah.
I look forward to getting down here.
Yes,
Quick catching up.
indeed.
Are you
Thank
living
you.
in the house now?
No,
Okay,
no one's living there.
okay. I thought I might stop by and say hello, but,
I'm in and out, but we're gonna be doing a lot of work there.
Okay.
there's no sense in us
so if I see a
trying to do
vehicle
it.
there, I'll stop in.
Yeah.
He
okay.
lives up the hill from you.
Oh, where do you live? Behind?
211 High Street, just up into an angle from you.
Oh, okay. My brother and his wife is Keith Hurley and Sarah Bird Hurley, which live in the Victorian there on King Street.
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
Probably.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
They're the ones putting the roof on now.
Uh-huh.
right. I'm in the opposite direction,
Okay.
looking out your back window.
That's
I'm that
nice.
way.
We'll pop in sometime. when
Will
we're
do.
there. All right, thank you.
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any public comments?
Well, what are these about with Betsy's name on it?
Oh, there's the waivers.
There's a waiver.
Oh, okay, sorry.
They just include
What
those.
Okay.
waivers?
Like where the staff grants or whether it's.
Without, yeah, we don't normally get
County
these,
for us.
so it's a little confused. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, but I never print them out.
Who are these whites? They're making a lot of applications here.
Jan, just trying to repair and maintain.
All right, preservation plan discussion. So, well, Betsy, why don't you tell them what?
Oh, you tell them.
Okay, Betsy and I came to town council Monday night, and as we discussed, we presented the idea of expanding the historic district to include the areas that are within the state and federal footprint that are not part of our footprint. And I had a very nice discussion with town council. They had quite a few questions, and there was no official action taken, but they all gave us basically the thumbs up to proceed. And, you know, we indicated that we planned on, if they encouraged it, that we would then have some information sessions and some public forums and try to build support for the idea of expanding the historic district and then bring it back to town council to have them act on that. So that it was well received, and I think that went well.
Yes, I
Anything-
thought it went very well. Didn't you think so, Maya?
They did an excellent presentation, by the way.
I watched it.
One of the,
I was one of their fans.
You
probably in
I
the
did
top
watch it.
3 of presentations I've seen, so.
Oh, well,
Oh.
good, yeah, good, thank you.
Well, we gave the history to give everybody a little summary of how we got to where we are today.
Mhm.
And then, we didn't ask for any hurrying, and we asked for just the, just the consensus of let's study this. I will say that the nomination itself has never been reviewed or updated, and it's supposed to be. So that's good, and, I think we really got a sense of the fact that there does need to be some, public education for the merits of historic preservation, for sure. That there still is a lot of misunderstanding about, why it's a good thing for me as a property owner. I mean, it's obviously a good thing for the town, I hope everybody thinks that, but for the property owner, sometimes it can be looked upon as a burden and being in my business kind of thing,
Right.
like we just saw. I mean, not that he was, but telling people what they can and cannot do with their property. So that's why we thought the public education thing would be an important thing, and I think you all were in agreement with that, weren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of urgency as far as speed, because they're hoping to have all the zoning updated, they're changing zoning, consolidating it down to something that's a little more manageable than
Mhm.
it has been, and it hasn't been updated in 40 or 50 years, I think, is that correct?
Yeah, so there isn't necessarily speed. That's probably gonna be adopted closer to like July, I think.
Well, that's
basically.
what we thought,
So-
is
Right.
summer, that we didn't need to do it right this very second, like the next 2 months, but I think we should be just talking this through and coming up with some goals and,
But we
and some
should have something
plans.
presented before July is what I'm getting at. So we've got
Correct.
6 months
Oh, yeah,
basically to.
for sure,
Instead of a couple of years.
for sure.
So do we wanna plan another, meeting to then plan to talk about how we're gonna approach this outreach part of the component, or?
I would make a suggestion for our next meeting, if Maya can help us with this, is if we can get who these property owners are specifically, so then we can, know who we're gonna have to contact as far as education goes.
Mhm.
And if we know that, and I was also looking over here, some of this is that ball field area, is that part of William King?
Well, some of the ball field area was deeded over to the town in 2007. The part of the William King property that the town, not owned, but used all the time for the ball field and the cemetery. So, and I don't know, I can't tell from looking at that if that's current or not, I don't know.
See, this goes all the way over to Russell Road, and I don't think William King,
Well, no, William King never went all the way over to Russell Road.
I mean, the ball fields belong to the town, clearly,
Now,
right?
yes,
And-
now.
And that's part
All
of
of it.
what's on there, I believe.
but my point is if we can find out exactly who these property owners are, so then we can work on our education and initially target those individuals.
I think that's a great idea, and I've actually already talked to, the Department of Historic Resources to Mike Pulis about who would be a good speaker. Because to me, that might be a good kickoff, is to have a public speaker here on what were the merits of historic preservation to both communities as well as property owners. I know I've said this before, but the last time we did this, years and years ago, we had the mayor of Charleston here, and he just, he's so positive, and nobody can argue with the fact that Charleston is such a successful city, and it's all because of their historic preservation. And so he was a wonderful speaker. So I've asked them if they can recommend another good speaker, and they already have. So I've got, in fact, I have it with me somewhere.
Okay.
But so anyway, the next meeting we could talk about, I think if we came up with several goals, I've already sent a couple
Right.
to Byram, and then some objectives under those goals as to how we're going to accomplish those goals. One being, with this public awareness, would be a speaker first, just kick things off. But prior to that, to me, we would invite all these people specifically. It'd be open to the public, but we would talk to them and invite them specifically to come.
That would be good. Do we want to have a mid-November meeting to get going on this, or?
For dates and time, like decide dates and times.
Yeah, I can certainly do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, mid-November is Thanksgiving week, so.
It's almost mid-November now.
Yeah,
Well, 2 weeks
It'll
from
be longer,
today's
yeah.
just the 17th,
Is
which
it?
is the week
Okay.
before Thanksgiving.
okay.
Yeah, that
great.
week would probably be good.
And we also spoke about the fact that there's a possibility that the farmer's market may be looking at being in the depot. And so that facility, we thought, if we're thinking it's gonna be a crowd with a speaker, that I talked to about having an event there too, so that we'd have it sort of in a place where there's
Oh,
parking
Good
and
idea.
Instead of
doors.
here? Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes just taking things off of, like putting them out in the community, sort of creates a more open environment for
Mhm.
people to feel
Instead of here in the
comfortable.
courtroom?
Right, exactly, this exact comment, yes, so.
Yeah.
So we do have that opportunity to use that facility if we want to.
Perfect.
So,
17th?
the 17th at 5:15? Does that work for everybody?
Yes.
So,
5:15, okay.
And can you help us with,
I will get the addresses as you've requested, and then when we get to the invitation stage, we can send a mail out with the items that we'd like to include, the date, and then,
Okay,
yeah, so we can get all that,
okay.
yeah.
I'll send around this speaker.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
because I'm thinking probably close to half of those already would probably already own properties in the historic district anyway, I'm thinking, like your family.
Yeah, I mean, yes. You mean other properties? Mhm. Yeah, one of the,
Like Jan Hurd and you and.
yeah, one of the acquisitions is ours.
I thought y'all had two.
We do.
Good.
All right. Is there any other, any discussion on the preservation plan? Any
Oh, I
good-
just want to thank you for doing that. It was, we're very well prepared. I was in awe, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
Can I just ask a
Sure.
question really quick? I had kind of put it on there, but I know we were chatting about the waivers and stuff. I had a gentleman this last week who challenged me a little bit, because they are doing an addition on Porch Street, proposing to do an addition that can't be seen from a public right-of-way. When I read this, and maybe with the attorney eyes we can clarify this, but I think that the only ability that this gives me for waivers is related to like small, sort of insignificant changes, as I would call them, things that are outlined in there. My understanding from reading this is that the moment it is new construction, regardless of if it can be seen from a public right-of-way or not, it still comes in front of the board. And he was pushing back, saying he had been told told by the previous, director that he could do this, and I just wanted to be very clear that
Is it in addition to the house? or-
it is an addition to the house. It will not be seen because it's, kind of behind.
It won't be seen from any.
It will not be seen, but as far as I'm reading this, it says,
I think we still have to prove the
And-
architecture.
yeah, that's what I think too. It says any building or structure hereafter erected, constructed, reconstructed, altered, restored, moved, or demolished within the old and historic district without the same prior approval and issuance of a certificate of appropriateness. The only item that I think that we can waive, when it's not visible from a public right-of-way says, building or structure which are subject to public view from any public street, right-of-way, or place be altered in any way that affects the external appearance of the building or structure. So basically, they could ask for a waiver if they were altering the structure and it can't be seen. But I don't think I think if you can't see it, I can't waive it if it's new construction, like an addition.
Can I see what you're reading?
Yeah.
That's a town
It's-
code, I assume,
yep.
right?
It's section
Question.
A. So I, yeah.
Can you specifically say which house?
Yeah, so, I don't know if I don't have the
Okay.
address, but the coffee shop, and then right next to it is the building on Porch Street, the Tumbling Cider and the
Yes.
Wolf Hills Coffee, and then right next to it is a large, I don't know what the address is, but
Oh,
it's
it's,
flat.
it's William
William
King's
King
house,
House?
1803,
Okay.
yeah. Probably our most contributing house in the town.
So, they wanna do an addition
To the back?
basically to the back, but I challenged them because I think, and we'll see what, your board chair has to say, but I think that the only things when it comes to whether or not it could be, not seen from a public right away and I can do a waiver, is if, for example, tonight, that window, we couldn't see it from the public right away, I could have said, yes, you can make the window larger. But I don't think that this gives us any ability to waive new construction.
This is, in my opinion, this is something I don't think we've had to deal with before. And I'm unsure myself, because you're right, he's right, you cannot see that. Well, I know where they're talking about, you can't see any of it, but on the other hand, it's this particular building, which is really the oldest, one of the oldest that we have, and most important.
And I
So,
think it's supposed to come here. I think all new construction comes to you.
Yes,
And
it would have to be approved by some board, any construction.
Correct.
Even if it goes through the planning commission.
Yeah, no, I think it comes to you, as the board, as far as I can read that.
I think we ought to ask Byram to do a little research on this.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think she's reading that correctly. I mean, I think if you're altering an existing structure and it's out of public view, then you can get a waiver, but if it is new construction, because it's a whole separate thought at the end, neither shall any building or structure hereafter be erected, constructed, reconstructed, altered, restored. So if it's new construction, I think we always have to approve it with a certificate of
Okay.
appropriateness.
Well, and I just wanted to ask you all, because I wanted to be able to go back to him and say, yes, I've asked them and they agree
Yeah.
with my interpretation of the code.
Well, and
So,
I don't think it should be based on the fact that that's one of the most important buildings in town. I think it should apply to if there's another comparable situation that comes up. Don't you? I mean, I don't think we
Well,
can,
yes,
we can say, yes, it applies
Which one
because
is it?
the King
William
House is
King's
so
house.
important.
William King. No, yes, I was saying that in case we decided that since it was out of public view, okay. But since it's his house, we do have a sliding scale really for contributing and non-contributing, of course.
But it isn't, I mean, you can see right up to the back of there right now.
From the
From
alley.
Plum Alley.
From the
It's-
alley. If they close it, you won't be able to, but that's exactly right, and there's a
We-
point right there.
I drove up and down it and we looked at their proposed, and it's actually tucked behind. So Wolf Hills Coffee actually extends further
Uh-huh.
than the design is proposing to come, so.
So it's gonna be tucked back there.
It will be tucked, but as long as we're with our attorney on our board,
Uh-huh.
as long as that is the interpretation and I'm interpreting it correctly, I just wanted to make sure, because sometimes we get challenged, and as
Oh, yeah.
far as I'm reading this, anything that is new construction comes to you in the old and historic district. the
What
only
is our
small
definition
piece.
Well,
of
that's a
public
bit-
view? Because that's actually going to be able to be seen from the rooftop of the Summers building. I'm
No, I mean, I'm
serious.
just laughing because
Yeah.
you're right, it is.
Yeah.
It
That's
says
all about that.
public
It's public right of
way or
Public
street.
right of way, okay.
Oh,
It says right away, yeah.
Almost.
Well, it used to be some
structure and
sort
can
of
be seen by the public.
archaic sounding
Yes.
language,
Yeah.
Yeah.
public,
Yeah.
But I
public
think you were
something
very
or
right to
way.
bring it here,
Okay.
because it is,
Yeah.
it is a little bit of a conundrum that we've never dealt with.
Yeah.
She's doing such a good job.
She is.
Is that the same owners as the Summers building?
No.
I thought that was all,
It is
It was
all
all bought
connected,
by
yeah.
one owner at one time, then he sold it, and now there's three different owners. There's, the Summers building is owned, partnership, and then the William King house is owned by David Dalton
Right.
and his wife, and then the coffee shop and that building, the solder shop are owned by a couple.
And this is the same owner that bought the Hiram Dooley house and moved it, David Dalton.
I mean, he's very sensitive to.
Oh, yeah, he's very
What we-
sensitive
yeah.
to what, to
Yeah.
this.
It surprises me he gave you pushback, that's the reason why.
Yeah, and so that's why I brought it tonight, just.
Well, if he was told by the prior person, then
Yeah,
I
and
can
he-
understand
yeah,
why he would
and-
be frustrated.
And you can understand why people would be confused by that.
Correct.
Because you
Yes.
really can't see it, I mean,
Exactly.
yeah.
I have no doubt that he will present something though that we will,
I think so.
Oh, I think so.
I'm sure he
I
will.
think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, he will.
it's just another hurdle that he's trying to avoid.
I'm sure it'll be amazing. So is there, any further items to discuss? Is there a motion to adjourn? Did we already make one?
so moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
Roll call?
Mr. Owens,
Aye.
Mrs. Hartshorn,
Aye.
Mr., oh, this is the long list.
Oh.
Mr. Boyd,
Aye.
Mrs. White, and
Aye.
Mr. Geisler.
Oh, here's this window sketch, Dad.
Oh,
Oh,
do
yeah.
we keep this window thing, or is he?